Lewiston, Idaho celebrated its 150th anniversary in 2011. Established in 1861 in the wake of the gold rush, Lewiston owes much of its history to mining, and much of the mining was done by Chinese workers.
The Chinese arrived soon after the white miners, so in the early 1860s you had both Chinese and whites here. And then the whites moved on in the mid-1860s when gold was discovered around Boise. And then for many years the Chinese were the majority of miners, in this region. We're talking about Lewiston, talking about Boise, we're talking about Walla Walla, Pendleton, John Day and Baker City, and where there were Chinatowns. The Chinese worked in mines, they built railroads in the region.
The Chinese were attracted to make money, and they came out of a desperate situation in China where people were starving to death, and they moved to better their lives, just as the whites did.
About 300,000 Chinese immigrated to the western U.S. in the late 19th century. They were often met with discrimination and sometimes violence. In May 1887, a gang of white outlaws used guns and axes to slaughter over 30 Chinese miners at Deep Creek, along the Snake River south of Lewiston. The outlaws then took the miners' gold. Later, they were brought to trial for their crimes and found innocent. Over 100 years later, the massacre has been chronicled by author and journalist Greg Noakes.
I grew up in Oregon, somewhat of a student of Oregon history, had never heard of this massacre. And this was the worst of all the many crimes that occurred against the Chinese, and there were many crimes. And when I heard about it, I thought we need to do stories on this. Did some stories for the paper. As I further explored it, I found out that the magnitude of it and decided it needed to be a book.
Greg's information got the attention of Lewiston residents Lyle Wirtanen and Gary Bush.
Over coffee, the conversation was, gee, this is a great article, a bit of local history. How do we get people up to see this on site, to see this story? And consequently, that led to putting together Chinese Remembering.
Chinese Remembering is an event held each summer on the campus of Lewis Clark State College in Lewiston. It began in 2008 simply as a series of lectures and has been growing each year.
It's to tell the story and also educate the public about the most significant massacre of Chinese men in American history. If you look at history books, they do not include the Chinese massacre in Hell's Canyon because there was little written about it and no documentation. That documentation had been lost or misplaced or purposely put away and hidden. And it wasn't until Greg dug that out did we really know the significance of this.
The first year we had Chinese Remembering here, I'm not sure there was a single Chinese American face in the audience. And then this year we have quite a contingent of Chinese Americans that come up from Portland. So it's just grown in the Chinese community like it has in all communities. So that's been rewarding.
We have people from Portland, Ashland, California, Seattle, a couple from North Carolina, 2 people from Minneapolis. How they heard about it, we're not sure, but they're from all over the United States now, so the message is getting out there.
Chinese Remembering offers the rare opportunity to visit a display of artifacts from Lewiston's Buckeye Temple. This display is not open to the public. The original temple was established by Gold Rush-era Chinese as a place of worship. It was later destroyed, and the surviving artifacts have great historical and cultural significance. Chinese Remembering also includes a day-long jet boat trip 70 miles up the Snake River to visit the actual site of the Deep Creek Massacre. Participants can take part in a Chinese healing ceremony, honoring the miners who were murdered there.
And so if you look at it in context of I can touch something, I can be in a place that something significant happened, you're on the level of involvement that only happens like you go to Gettysburg or you go to some significant happening in American history and you're right in the same spot and that's exactly where it was.
We killed them all, and we took that gold.
The Deep Creek Massacre has also been chronicled in a song written by Gareth Tabor of Oregon.
We killed them all, but the truth be told, we killed them 'cause they don't look like us.
I think the people are looking at an educational experience so that they can understand the history of the Chinese. I think that healing is part of it too.
The response is tremendous. They see a section of the United States that is very rare for people to see. Hell's Canyon has a history unto itself.
And the Chinese history is part of everybody's history. The Chinese helped to build the railroads, mine the gold, clear the land. Without them, it would have been a much different place.
If you have an idea for Northwest Profiles, send it to KSPS TV, 3911 South Regal, Spokane, Washington 99223. Northwest Profiles is a presentation of KSPS Public Television.